Veszprém-Balaton Calling Podcast. Történetek rólunk, neked. Láss mögé. Veszprém-Balaton Calling.
Welcome everyone to the latest edition of our Veszprém-Balaton Calling podcast. This is our 21st podcast this year and the previous year. We've been doing this podcast for 2 years now, so it's been a long time. And thank you for sticking with us. And thanks for the generous sponsorship of the European Capital of Culture project for making this podcast possible. We are joined today by a special guest from Négyfalu, which is a small town, let's say, in the Transylvanian part of Romania. We have Tímea Tóth with us, who is a volunteer of the European Capital of Culture project here in Veszprém. So we're going to talk to her about her experiences and about her perspective on volunteering and how it changed her life and how the European Capital of Culture project changed everyday life here in Veszprém. So, Tímea, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
This is great to have you with us. So, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about your personal background, where you come from? What's your story?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm from Transylvania, Négyfalu. It's in the Brașov County. So for high school, for example, I went to Brașov. After that, I went to Cluj to study international relations. And from that, I'm here, volunteering at the European Capital of Culture.
That's great. So you're saying you're going to university now? You're a university student?
Yeah, I'm still active.
In Cluj. And that's, which university is it?
Babes-Bolyai.
And what is your major? What are you studying right now?
International Relations and European Studies.
Okay, so that kind of fits in the picture. To volunteer in an ECC city and to get some experience on foreign cultures and interaction with foreign people. Is that why you started volunteering here, to gain experience?
Yeah, I thought it's like a good kickstart of a career for me to come here.
Are you interested in interactions with people from different cultures?
Yeah, I like the socializing part, but not like building connection part. Also, it's pretty good like getting to know people from all over mostly Europe. And then when you go somewhere to visit that country, you can just stay there for free. That's like a good perk of it.
So how did you find this opportunity that you can volunteer here in Veszprém? And just before you answer, we all know that Timișoara is also an ECC city this year. So it begs the question: why did you want to volunteer in Veszprém rather than Timișoara, which is a little bit closer?
Where I signed up through the ESC webpage, European Solidarity Corps. And I only saw the post made by Veszprém. So I was like, okay, I can try this out. And when I arrived here, I found out that Timișoara is also one of the European Capital of Cultures. So, yeah, I guess I never considered it as an option. Now, if I think back, maybe I would have went there as a volunteer, but only if I would do something beside it, not like an ESC volunteer. But I like it here in Hungary because
Yeah, well, we also like you being here, of course. What was the selection process like? What were the requirements? Were there any special skills that you had to show? Or?
Well, usually there's like a description of what they do, why they are looking for volunteers. And they weren't really specific about the task. It was mostly like I can try out myself in different fields to figure it out what I want to do. Mostly, so they rather gave us an opportunity rather than fill in something for them.
You said you're still in university. Did you finish your thesis yet? Your thesis paper?
I'm still working on that,
Oh, yeah.
but that's my last step.
Do you think you can use this experience to write your thesis?
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to do something related to culture, but I was mostly focused on my own, and I realized how broad the term of culture is. So now it gives me the idea to implement more elements.
Sure. And how long have you been here?
Nearly 10 months.
So you arrived in February?
Yeah.
And what do you see, because you're interested in culture, if I had to ask you, what are the main differences between, let's say, Hungarian and Romanian culture? What would you say?
Well, at first I thought culture is more like in the everyday way, meaning that music, art, theater, this kind of stuff. But now I think that like what we do in our everyday life, that's also like part of our culture. And arriving here, I realized that Transylvanian Hungarian culture is way different than the Hungarian culture.
Sure. In what ways?
For example, we have this thing when we visit someone, we never show up with empty hands.
Oh, yeah.
In Hungary, this is not it. Like they just come and go like nothing happened without trace.
So you make a big event out of every visit.
It's more like a custom, I don't know. Or for example, if someone comes visiting you, you offer them snacks, food, the whole toast, everything.
So when you came here, what did you bring?
Palinko.
Is that good Palinko in back there in Négyfalu?
No, not really. We got it mostly from Maramuresh.
Okay.
It's closer to Hungary.
Sure, yeah.
And also we have different regions have different kind of Palinko. Like in Maramuresh, you can find the plump one.
Yeah.
And for example, the székelyek, they would make mostly from apple or peach or...
And which one is your favorite?
The plum one.
Plum. My favorite is apple because I think that's like very pure and it doesn't taste like anything. It's like, you can't really smell the odor.
Yeah, I think I'm more used to the plum one.
Sure, yeah, right. So, Tima, did you have any prior experiences in volunteering in anywhere in Romania?
Well, I think I started volunteering pretty young. Not in terms like, God, I'm a volunteer. Mostly like I do community work. Because Hungarians are quite a minority in my region, so we do activities for them just to like get together, remember that we're still there, our culture is still alive. We have like just gatherings, game nights, just very simple, only to be together.
And you're involved mainly in event organizing. When you volunteer, are these events, concerts, let's say, or festivals, or more smaller community gatherings?
Honestly, if I see an opportunity, I just went for it.
Just go for it.
Yeah, like if a festival would look for volunteers and it fits my schedule, yeah, I would sign up. But I would rather prefer the community kind of stuff.
Right. Are there any famous festivals around maybe Brașov or Timișoara or Cluj that you participated in maybe as a volunteer?
There are two festivals bigger in Brașov. One would be the Mural Festival. It would be like Inota here, but less of an experience with the landscape. And in Cluj, I was involved in Untold.
Untold Festival.
Yeah, and also Electric Castle. They're like considered quite big on an European level.
Electric Castle, that's in Bánffyhunyad, right?
Yeah.
Is that around electric music or
yeah,
like
that would be the main topic.
Visual effects and maybe sound effects and all that?
Yeah, and the cool part is that it involves a castle. So from the festival, they get the budgeting to renovate the castle.
Wow.
And they involved in also volunteering work to renovate it. So it's like very little expense to hold that place up.
Oh, so you were laying bricks too?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Really?
Or if you were in art and stuff, they would teach you how to renovate the paintings.
Wow. So that's really a great opportunity, I would say, for youngsters to try themselves out in volunteering. And what would you say, because I can see that you're a big just looking at you, you're a big volunteer and you have a big heart, and you like to help out. What would you say if you had to persuade others to volunteer? What are the main pros, advantages of volunteering from a personal perspective and from the community perspective?
Well, I think it's a good free time activity, and even if you like have a hobby or don't have a hobby, you can try yourself out in different things. With your hobby, you can implement them. Without a hobby, you can like find yourself something to do. Also, you can meet people from all kind of backgrounds all around the world, as you can see. So it just gives you a perspective of life, I think.
Can you get fired as a volunteer?
Well, that's the best thing of it. You don't get fired, so you can do whatever you want.
Oh, really? So even if you do something that you shouldn't have done?
I mean, let's not think in an illegal way. But yeah, respecting the activities. And also, I think if you volunteer, you have the same mindset or the purpose to help out. So, yeah.
Sure. Do you have to specialize as a volunteer? Or do you have to be open for like myriads of tasks?
Depends. If you want to be in your comfort zone, you can just do what you feel comfortable.
What do you feel comfortable with? Specialty?
I don't know. Maybe just talking or doing anything and follow up with the event.
Yeah, tell me about what you've done here and what you've been doing here in Veszprém.
Well, I'm mostly involved in office tasks. So Excel sheets, email writing, maybe calling someone on the phone, that's me. And other than that, depends. If there's a festival, I'm involved as a shiny. As you know, these are the local...
Ragyogók.
Yeah.
Yes.
The local volunteers here. So I can act like a local volunteer as well. And maybe I'm involved in the organization part a little bit. If they need simple tasks like printing, flyers and stuff like that, very easy, without qualification job.
Do you work alone or do you work in a team? Because I can imagine that when you came here in February, it was probably not only you, but you were probably accompanied by a few other volunteers from elsewhere.
Yeah, when I arrived, we were 4. They were 2 from Spain and 1 from Estonia. And well, mainly we are part of the volunteering team. They have a whole department in the office. And beside that, I'm also involved in the international relations team because it's also my major, and they thought it's a good way to experience if I would like to do it or not in the future. It gives me a perspective, definitely. And beside that, if anyone really needs help in the office, they know they have volunteers and they just ask us.
Are these, you said Estonian and Spanish colleagues? Are they still here, or did they?
No, they left. They already finished their volunteering period, which was like 9 months, I think.
Is there anybody else now besides you?
Yeah, now I'm living with an Irish girl. She arrived in September.
So and you're staying until
the end of the program, December.
Okay. What are the main events that you've been participating in during this year? Just tell me a few festivals or days that you've been participating in as a volunteer.
I've been so long here, I don't even know what I participated in. I guess the most popular ones in Veszprém, like Veszprém Fest and Street Music Festival. On the Gizella days, because they have different groups, so we were in charge of one group.
In the Street Music Festival, what was your job? Because that's probably one of the hallmarks, the emblematic events of Veszprém.
Oh. At that time, we also have short-term volunteers, so they were here, and I was mostly with them, doing activities with them.
Did you have to take care of the bands, or maybe?
On that festival, not. It was their task, but yeah, mostly these were the tasks. We also had like a volunteer corner where people stopped and they could fill out like a quiz, how much they know Europe or European Capital of Culture.
Right.
Also, what they think of volunteering, stuff like that.
Because I'm asking this because I know that one of the tasks of volunteers is band sitting.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I mean, it sounds funny, like I immediately think of babysitting, like you have to feed the bands.
It's the same thing.
You have
Just
to take care of them, keep them warm, and
so where bands are coming to a festival, they're not local, so they don't know where to get a coffee, or I don't know where are the best parties here in Veszprém. So we just have them out, and we're like on 24-hour call or something like that. Depends how much they need our help, and they know they can rely on us, or only water if they don't have.
And have you gone outside of Veszprém? Did you visit any other places?
Yeah, well, I've been here for 10 months, so I visited quite a big portion of Hungary so far.
Sure. Where have you been?
All around Balaton, the typical touristical places, Keszhely, Siófok.
Which was your favorite?
It wasn't really a favorite. I particularly like this region, the Bakony, because it kind of reminds me of home. And I only been to the western part of Hungary before coming here, and now I can see the other part. So I think, I don't know, even my parents liked it more, this part.
Oh, you had your parents over?
Yeah, they visited. I mean, it's Balaton, everyone should visit it.
Right. Did they come over the summer?
Yeah.
How many times did they come? Just once?
Well, they stayed for a week. And I mean, they mostly just went to Balaton.
So you showed them around? And
Not really, because coming here, I find out that I also have relatives around Balaton.
Oh, you do?
So my dad felt it like a mission to look them up.
Oh, that's great. Family reunions.
Yeah, something like that.
So you had to organize that too?
No, I was just enjoying their organizing part. Also, it's nice getting to know relatives.
And which was your favorite event over the year? You've seen many things. You've seen the Gisela days. You've seen you said the Libertaria. That was something in the theater garden, cultural event. You've seen the street music festival. You also said last week was. Because we're recording this on the 16th of November. So last week was the literary festival. So
Yeah.
which was the one that you found most intriguing, attractive, and interesting for you?
Well, I think all of the events were interesting in a way. Also, I saw in Hungary is a thing to implement theater, visual arts, and singing in one stage, which is like, I think, the coolest thing here. And also, it just, I realized how varied can a show be, and all the festivals, they have like good ideas. We also have literature festival, but not like here in different areas like comic books and creamy books and stuff like that. So I enjoyed each one of them.
Okay, that's a very impartial answer. Thank you. So what are you taking home as now we can say you're an expert in event organization and volunteering. What are you taking home from this long stream of events that occurred during this ECC year? What did you learn here?
I got ideas how to organize an event or what to implement in an event. Also, it's a good experience, so it looks good on CV.
You also said that you were taking surveys with people, how they see it affects everyday life in Veszprém, this ECC year. How do you see everyday life changed? Well, of course, you just see this year, but do you see any change in Veszprém, in everyday habits of the people and the cultural life, and how people relate to these cultural events?
Well, first is the landscape. When I arrived, everything was under construction.
Yeah, sure.
So
I remember that.
It's nice seeing how it ended in a very beautiful way. And in cultural terms, I think also because I got more and more involved, I couldn't see the first part of how people are actually enjoying this cultural immersion. But now I think, and also from what I've heard, they're like more open, more active to try out new things, to see what's happening. If they hear music on the street or just some lights, they just go there and see what's happening, not ignoring it. So I think that's a good thing.
So people are getting more involved. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, and also more curious about what else can happen around here.
And you personally, what are you taking home as in terms of personal development? What did you gain from this experience as a volunteer in the ECC project? Well, I mean, did you become like more self-confident or?
I think I evolved personally, and also seeing how things are going in an office environment. I learned from that.
And you've been also handling other volunteers. Is that something? That's probably something that you've never done before.
Yeah, I learned how to work with bigger groups, how to help them out, or maybe just accompany them to see if they need anything. I'm not a tour guide, but I think I've been here long enough that I could make a tour with a group of people.
All right.
And also learning a little bit about the Veszprém's history and historical parts of it.
And did you get any professional help from the ECC project? Did you participate in any training, to get you more into the mood?
We required to participate in 2 trainings. One is the mid-arrival training. It's mostly how to handle cultural shock, not speaking the language, which is not my case. And also like to know ourselves better. It's like a personal development training. How to get used to people here, the situation, and also how to handle conflicts maybe. And there's another one at the end. It's mostly just your question, what I gain for this, how I see my future with this, if I regretted it or not. So it just gives it's more focused on the future and the future perspective for us.
So what would you say to youngsters who are thinking about volunteering, maybe in a future European Capital of Culture city? What would be your advice to them as an experienced volunteer? What to do, what not to do, how to do, where to go?
Well, I think the coolest part about the European Capital of Culture is because you don't only get to know their culture, but also on European level. They have shows from all around the world, inviting people. So I think it's definitely an experience. And it's not like a good volunteer or bad volunteer. It's just, even though you don't like your tasks, you find joy in the events they had. And if you don't like what they do, which is impossible, by the way, because it's super cool, then you just find that career kick or just get friends, like it's more chill, not working there. You're a volunteer, you have rights. If you don't feel comfortable, then you should do something that you feel comfortable doing it, because you have the right to do so. That's the best thing about volunteering, probably.
Thank you very much, Timo. That's a pretty enthusiastic ending note here. Thank you for the good advice. I hope our listeners will take all these pieces of advice in the future to their advantage. And I hope we meet again in some future event, maybe in another ECC city. So thank you very much for talking with us, and thank you guys for listening in. You've been listening to the 21st Veszprém-Balaton Calling podcast, which was our third podcast in English. And obviously, we'd like to thank the support of the European Capital of Culture project for making this possible. And we'll meet you in our next podcast very soon. Bye-bye.